If you've ever played Minecraft on the Hypixel network, then chances are that you've played the minigame Murder Mystery. It's an amazing game where 90% of the time you get stabbed, shot even though you're not the murderer, and teabagged on once you're dead. I mean, what's not to like about this game? Seriously though, for the small percentage of Hypixel players who haven't had the pleasure of experiencing this minigame, let me explain how it works. There are 14 innocent players, 1 detective, and 1 murderer. The murderer's objective is to stab everyone before the time runs out and to not get shot by the detective. The detective's job is to figure out who the murderer is and shoot them while trying not to get stabbed themselves. If the detective does get stabbed, then the innocents have the opportunity to pick up the bow and take out the murderer all by themselves. But that's not the only way the innocents can get a bow to shoot the murderer. They can run around the map and collect gold, and once they get 10 gold, they get a bow shot. Once they get that bow shot, it's their choice to either shoot the murderer or a fellow innocent. It's a very simple game, and you'd think that's about as complicated as it gets, right? Well, I thought so too, until about a year ago when I discovered something on the murder mystery map known as Gold Rush. Gold Rush is modeled after the towns you see in classic western films, so naturally there's a bank. In that bank is an iron door that guards a lock, which supposedly opens the vault when you enter the correct combination. You can open the iron door by shooting this button through the bank teller window. Now when I started playing the game, I used to just think this was a fun thing that you could mess around with, but you couldn't actually open. However, as I played Murder Mystery on that map more and more, I began to grow curious as to whether or not you actually could open the vault. So, I went onto the Hypixel forums to do some research, and ended up finding this post dating back to September 16th of 2019, in which a player by the IGN of Creature22 in Roman numerals made an inquiry about the bank vault on Gold Rush. I scrolled through the replies and found this one by a player named Tryhard, in which they gave step-by-step instructions on how to open the vault. Since it's a little long, I'll summarize. You collect 2 gold, get a cactus clearer, which is basically just TNT, you run to the cave in the corner of the map, blow up the wall in the cave, and get the first half of the code from the chest in the cave. Then you run over to the jail just to the right of the bank and get the second half of the code from that chest. After that, you need a bow to shoot the wooden button that'll open the iron door, and once you're in, you can enter the code and open the vault. I mean, it's simple enough, right? Well, gold is pretty hard to come by in Murder Mystery, and after doing some calculations, I figure that you'll need a grand total of 14 gold. This means that you need a lot of time, which you don't usually get in Murder Mystery since the murderer is often shot within the first minute of play. That, and there's also the large possibility that you could get stabbed before collecting all the materials and the code required to open the bank vault. Basically, it's almost impossible to pull off this heist as an innocent. But then I had the thought, what if you're the detective? Think about it. A bow costs 10 gold, but since the detective already starts with a bow, all they need to do is get 4 gold for explosives, and that's it. So, with this in mind, I queued Gold Rush and instantly ran into another problem. It's a dead map. Don't get me wrong, Murder Mystery is not a dead game. It's just that games only fill up quickly if everyone clicks on this clock to queue, which sends them into a random lobby that already has a lot of players waiting. If you have a high enough rank to choose whatever map you please, like I do, there's a chance you'll pick a map with no players in the queue, which means you'll likely have to wait for a long time. Seriously though, I decided to wait in the queue for Gold Rush while I was writing the script for this video, and I kid you not, it took a half hour for the game to start. However, I made a discovery while waiting. If there are just 2 players in a queue, Hypixel will automatically start putting other players into that same queue, filling up the lobby much quicker. Once I joined a Gold Rush lobby with actual players in it, I just had to cross my fingers and hope that I would get detective, which did not happen, like, at all. I constantly got the role of innocent, and I even got the role of murderer once, but like, who wants to be the murderer? Even though I wasn't getting the role of the detective, I tried to break into the vault anyway, but invariably I either got stabbed by the murderer or the game ended quickly because the murderer got caught. I was about to scrap the video, but then I remembered one of the greatest heist movies of all time, Ocean's 13. In the film, they're running out of time and money, but rather than quit, they enlisted the help of someone from the previous film. So, I took a page out of their book and enlisted the help of a player by the name of Or1, whom you might recognize from the Mini Walls video, just under a year ago. Sorry I took so long to upload again. Also, I'd just like to take a real quick moment to shout out one of my viewers who actually recognized me in a Murder Mystery lobby while I was getting B-roll for this video. So, shout out to you, Pootsie. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. And if any of you other viewers see me in a game, please shower me in compliments. Alright, back to the video. Now that I had Or1 with me, we hopped in the queue for Gold Rush, and because there were already 2 of us in the queue, the lobby started filling up much faster. I feel like an idiot for not thinking of that sooner. Then, the game started, and I got the detective role. But I wasn't out of the woods yet. I still needed to get the materials and the code to open the bank vault. Luckily, I spawned in the jail, so I quickly got the last 2 digits of the code. Then, I rushed over to the bank and shot the button to open the door. Then, I rushed over to the bank and shot the button to open the door on the first try. From there, I only needed to get the 2 cactus clearers. I found 3 gold ingots and bought the first explosive, but I still needed 1 more ingot for the second. By some miracle, I found an ingot right outside the cactus clearer shop, and I got the last explosive that I needed. I began running over to the cave, and I heard another person die. Then, as I rounded the corner, I saw the murderer. I knew I couldn't shoot them. I was so close to opening the vault. So I stayed to the side and decided to run by them, when suddenly, the worst thing that ever could have happened in that situation happened. The murderer got juked by an innocent, which only sent their gaze flying towards me. With a newfound rage that could only be born from bad aim, they charged at me. Hours of hard work was washed down the drain as they sent my soul flying out of both my Minecraft body and my actual body. I was devastated. We queued into another game on Gold Rush, and I got the role of murderer. The universe was laughing at me so hard that it gave me 2 statistically improbable roles back to back. But then I had an epiphany. I thought about the only 2 things that had kept me from opening the vault. It was the murderer stabbing me and the murderer dying. And now I was the murderer. I certainly wasn't going to stab myself, and as long as I didn't reveal that I was the murderer, no one would have any reason to shoot me. So I got the first cactus clear and blew up the wall of the cave, getting the first 2 digits to the code. Then I ran over to the jail and got the last 2 digits. I had the full combination. I went and bought the cactus clear necessary to harvesting the gold in the vault, which meant that the only thing left to get was the bow. After running around for 2.5 minutes, I finally got my bow shot. I went to the bank and shot the button first try, just like before totally. Then, Orwin and I entered the combination, and the vault opened. We had done it. I placed the cactus clear in the middle of the vault, it blew up, and then I collected my reward. I may have lost the murder mystery game, but I beat the challenge that I had set forth to myself just hours earlier. Victory was mine. Then I learned a week later that using the cactus clear to actually clear the cacti gets you a butt ton of gold, which makes it so much easier to get the means necessary to open the vault and steal the gold, but we're just going to pretend that that strategy does not exist. And you may be wondering, Waffles, what did you do with all the gold? Well, I made myself a gold pickaxe and had a peaceful retirement. Oh my god!